Okay, what is resilience to you?
Good question. Most people will define resilience as the capacity and capability to recover from difficulties, setbacks, or failures. I want to add 3 other dimensions to the normal perspective of resilience. First, choice. Resilient people realize that they have limitations, therefore they choose their battles. These are battles that they will make better use of their potential, strength, and resources to achieve optimal results. Secondly, perseverance. Resilience is not just about bouncing back from a pit or a pitfall in life. It is also about the creativity, ability, agility, and the tenacity to press on to a desired destination. Resilience is not just about having the guts, grit, and gumption to do what you want to do. It is also about doing the things that you don't want to do in order to reach a worthwhile goal. Resilience drives you to persevere despite obstacles, adversity, and other challenges along the way. Resilient people don't just ask, what if I fail? They also ask themselves, what if I don't succeed? They don't just ask, is there a way? They also ask, how can I find a way? They constantly review themselves. How can I develop a better way or pursue a better destination? Am I willing to risk who I am for the sake of who I should be? What I do for the sake of what I should do, and what I have for the sake of what I should have. When you press on to develop perseverance, perseverance will help you press on towards success. Thirdly, recovering well. Resilience is not just about recovery, but also about how well and how fast you recover from a problem or a setback. Resilient people learn from lessons that come with every setback and failure. They change, improve, and ensure that they are in a better position to overcome future setbacks and future failures. When a problem is too big for them to overcome, resilience compels them to grow stronger and bigger than their problems so that they are better prepared and better positioned to overcome the next problem. When they press on in pressing on, they will get better in completing the task and finishing the race. Success belongs to those who never give up. Resilient people believe that success is a long corner, but it is just around the corner. They choose the journey, persevere through the challenges, recover from failures, and rose up stronger and better to finish the course. Throughout history, resilient people create some of the most inspiring stories to impact lives and change destinies.
Was there a difficult moment in your life, and how did you manage to overcome it?
Let me tell you my story. Some years ago, I embarked on a project that took up almost every resource that I have to complete the project. In the process, I had a better understanding of resilience. I learned to further develop what I call my resilience quotient. Since young, I've loved to learn, but because I came from a very poor family, I had to support myself financially through a series of university programs and do it on a part-time basis. For years, I would spend 3 nights and sometimes even weekends in classes, and usually after a long and tiring day or a week of work. The rest of the free time, I would spend mainly in the library, completing assignments and studying for examinations. Meanwhile, I had to juggle my passion for learning with growing responsibilities and duties at the workplace. After completing a bachelor's and 2 master's degree, I pursued other studies. Eventually, I only attended short-term seminars and courses. But all this while, I have never forgotten an item on my bucket list, and that is to earn a doctorate degree. It was a lifelong dream to stretch myself and put myself through one of the toughest rigors in the university. This includes conducting primary research and hopefully contribute to the growing body of knowledge and improve society. More importantly, I wanted to pursue the highest possible level of education and impact the people and environment around me. As I grew older and immersed myself in other pursuits, it became harder and harder for me to make my educational dream come true. There were lots of excuses that almost convinced me to put off my aspiration. Subconsciously, there were also growing doubts about my determination, about my discipline, and about my diligence. One fateful day, I was given something which to this day I couldn't even remember what it was. All I remember was the newspaper that was used to wrap that thing. A relatively small advertisement on the paper caught my attention, and that advertisement never left my mind. The advertisement seemed to pop out of the newspaper and it was screaming for my attention. It was an advertisement for less than 20 students to pursue a doctoral degree at the University of Southern California. The course of study was designed for qualified senior executives from different parts of the world. These students had to go through a series of stringent courseworks at 3 different campuses in Los Angeles, Doha, and Hong Kong, and finally complete a dissertation. I would have thrown the advertisement away if I had not told my family about it. But since that day, my family and friends reminded me and continued to encourage me to fulfill my lifelong dream. I'm thankful that I've always made it a point to surround myself with wise, reliable, and trustworthy people. At that point, to complete a doctorate degree seemed almost like an impossible dream. I could not even remember what I ate for lunch the day before, let alone memorize information from textbooks and remember lessons in a classroom. Finally, with strong support from my family and friends, I applied and was accepted into the doctoral course of study. At that point, little did I know that I had to invest my total being into one of the toughest challenges in my life journey. Why was it tough? First, I was one of the oldest students in the cohort and probably in the university. I had no foundational knowledge about many of the subjects. In fact, some of the subjects were initially way beyond my understanding and competence. The focus of my research was in financial intelligence. Few professors in the schools were available to give me expert advice and guidance on the topic. On top of that, I had to start some new business at a point in time and some new investment ventures. These ventures took time and attention away from my studies. I was also busily trying to manage many private affairs. At the same time, I had to run many other initiatives, including a relatively long list of professional, civic, charity, grassroots, philanthropic, and humanitarian initiatives. In addition to these challenges, it didn't help me to be constantly reminded that only 1% of students in tertiary level education has ever completed a doctoral degree. Many doctoral candidates have started on the arduous journey, but they did not make it to the finishing line. In the process of doing the course, some of the students from my cohorts and other cohorts also decided to drop out of the course. As they were bright students, their withdrawals made me question my own commitment, my own ability, and my own perseverance. Some of my friends asked me, at this stage in your life, Patrick, why? Why does it matter if you have a doctorate degree? How does it help you in your business? Shouldn't you focus on more important values and pursuits in life? To put it mildly, I was not only struggling in so many different ways throughout my course, I was also well-intendedly discouraged by many people on many occasions. There were moments when I felt like crying, especially when I was studying alone and in the middle of the night. Then I went through one of the biggest shocks and failures in my learning journey. At that point in time, I had submitted and defended the proposal for my dissertation. In addition, I had done a fair amount of research and crafted the first 3 chapters of my dissertation. By then, I felt like I've climbed a large part of a dark and challenging and steep virgin mountain. Any student who has gone through the same rocky mountain will sympathize with me and tell you it was a highly difficult part of an arduous journey. Shortly after, I was discussing my dissertation with the professor who taught me quantitative and qualitative research. Imagine the shock when she told me that all this while I had been doing my dissertation wrongly. I had to give up all that I've done and start all over again. Her words made me feel weak and soft all over and dragged me down an emotional abyss. That was when I got the supervisor of my dissertation to talk to her. Actually, it was more like arguing with her for my sake. I remember the incident as if it had only happened yesterday. I was walking a short distance from my two highly regarded professors, and they were debating about the contents of my dissertation. I could not hear the words, but I could feel the verbal cut and thrust. Finally, they both turned to me and said the words that I've been dreading to hear. "Patrick, sorry. Your dissertation is wrongly crafted. You have to start all over again." I felt like the road beneath me had opened up, plunging me into depths of emotional darkness. And that evening, no matter how I looked at my disqualified dissertation, I couldn't think of how I could pick myself up from the pieces and start the journey all over again. I almost put up my hands and surrendered to the bitter winds of disappointment and rejection. And thankfully, after walking around town like a zombie for a few days, I found the courage and the strength to restart the project all over again. In the words of the battle cry of my university, the University of Southern California, or USC in short, they tell us to keep fighting on, fight on. And after that failure, I went on to battle many other challenges and overcome many other failures and setbacks. I came very close at different points to mental and emotional exhaustion and collapse. But thanks to encouragement and support from many people around me, I dug into the reservoir of stamina and pressed on until I completed the doctoral race. I was filled with joy when I received my doctorate degree from the University of Southern California on 19th of July 2014. Just as importantly, I'm overjoyed for scoring straight A's for my coursework, and I'm really proud of my final dissertation. It was also a great honor to be nominated to deliver the student speech at the graduation dinner on the 17th of July 2015. And looking back on the doctoral journey, I learned, and I'm still learning, about one of the most critical factors for achieving sustainable success. And that critical success factor is resilience. Don't quit until it's the end. If you quit, that's the end. If you keep pressing on, you will achieve sustainable success. Thank you.